Hi, this is John Hand, and the pulsing cinema movie of the day is a special one. A special movie, very nostalgic for me. Toxic Zombies, 1980, also known as Forest of Fear in Europe, in the UK, and the Netherlands, where it was released on VHS. And then it was released theatrically as Bloodeaters. So I guess you could I guess the official U.S. theatrical title of the movie is Bloodeaters. But for me, it will always be Toxic Zombie because that's the title it was released under on VHS in the U.S. That's the title that they played it on Commander USA's Groovy Movies. And they played it, I think, on Saturday Nightmares. It was all across the USA network in the mid to late 80s. Oh my God, a zombie film about a bunch of hippies in the woods. Well, they're kind of late 70s hippies, so they're not really like, are you going to San Francisco? They're not like dressed up in flashy clothes. These guys are, like jungle guerrilla warriors in the woods, and they're growing dope in the woods. The DEA knows that this is going on. In fact, they ambush some of the DEA field guys and they kill them, actually, at the beginning of the film. So you don't really feel a lot of sympathy for these dope growers when the DEA decides to just go ahead and use a crop duster to dump a whole pile of this experimental herbicide called Dromax onto them. The Dromax causes the hippies to become flesh-craving zombies. And you've also got this other field guy played by the writer, producer, director, etc., Charles McCran, who is also a field guy. And the DEA bigwigs tell him, hey, don't go in this area where we're crop dusting. This is an area, don't go. Well, he does it anyway. He's like, I got a fishing trip. So I'm going to take my fishing trip. He takes his wife and another guy, and they go up there, and they get caught up in the zombies chasing after everybody in the woods. And there's some campers, and there's this brother and sister. The brother is like, of mice and men. He's kind of a little bit slow. The sister, is a young girl. And their parents are dispatched, and then they get caught up and they're running away from the zombies as well. So it's a film about zombies, flesh-craved dope growers running around in the woods, and these people just get caught up in it. A fun movie, a movie with no pretensions, just a monster movie, a zombie movie. Which again is a good twist on the whole Romero zombie archetype, and they're really not, they're less zombies and more like just flesh-craved people they have this powder that's been crop dusted on them, and it just drives them crazy. Nice little bit part by John Amplas as one of the government, the DEA government officials who dumps this stuff on the dope growers and then has to go in to try to clean up the mess. Charles McCran, the writer, producer, director, star, I think he infuses this film with a little bit of satire, because I think the film really, when I rewatched it, a number of years ago, when I rewatched it as an adult, to me, the film feels a lot about the conflict between corporate or government upper management and then the field people, because in the movie, Charles McCran's character always argues with the upper guys that they're not giving him the support, they're not giving him what he needs, and these upper guys are just immoral, and they basically they know that this experimental herbicide is likely toxic, but they don't care. They just want to score a big win. And then when the shit hits the fan, they're like, oh, we got to go ahead and clean up. We got to do damage control, and their damage control involves weapons. So, yeah, the film definitely, it's a zombie film, it's a horror film, it's a low-budget little monster movie. But it's also about the conflict between upper and lower management. That definitely felt to me like, one of the key elements of this film. So the movie is like painfully obscure, in my opinion, painfully underseen. It played theatrically around 1980 under that Bloodeaters title. And you see a lot of trailer compilation videos which have Bloodeaters, like Screen Scaries and the Previews from Hell and a few of them others. They have the Bloodeaters trailer. The Bloodeaters trailer is really cool, but it wasn't really widely released on VHS in the U.S. I mean, it had a Video for Pleasure, a Netherlands VHS title label released it, and then in the UK it was released as Forest of Fear in a cut version. And I've seen a VHS copy of this Forest of Fear, and it just seems they just chopped out just hunks of this film for really no reason. The film doesn't really have a lot of sophisticated special effects. It's very, very simple. And it even seemed like in the Forest of Fear VHS that they cut out the ending for some reason. The film just ends at the aftermath, before the coda, the ending scene, just at the ending of the assault of the zombies, and then just cuts to credits. It's like, okay, where's the end of the film, really? All right. Yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous. And and then in the U.S., it was only released as Toxic Zombies, played a hell of a lot on the USA Network, and it has that iconic Toxic Zombies cover art. But that's about it, man. That's about it. Throughout the 90s, not released on Laserdisc, obviously. The director, Charles McCran, producer, director, from the IMDb, you get a lot of information on his background. He was a Princeton guy, Yale man. Went into business and made quite a name for himself. And very sadly, he worked in the World Trade Center and died at 9/11. And that's pretty much been it. His obituary did note that he'd made this little low budget horror film, that he enjoyed horror movies, and this was almost kind of like a hobby, so it wasn't a film that he didn't. This is his only film they ever made, and it's a shame that he passed away in 2001. Before. That was just when DVD was coming out, and the resurgence of niche titles on DVD was coming about. Little companies, Something Weird and Elite Entertainment, Synapse, and Image Entertainment was releasing a lot of this stuff. Blue Underground, when interesting obscure titles were kind of coming out of the woodwork. And I think Toxic Zombies, deserves a good DVD. Well, at this point, it deserves a Blu-ray release. I think it's a fine little movie. It just does what it does. It gets out. These little movies, they can be very entertaining. First they're probably very nostalgic because I saw it at a certain time when I was a kid. They're just entertaining, and it's a fine little movie to see in an afternoon. Not very technically advanced, not the most technically advanced film, but I've seen far worse zombie films. This one is definitely for me personally at the top of that. So there you go. Toxic Zombies, aka Bloodeaters, aka Forest of Fear, aka whatever. A nice little flick.